Welcome to the Ward 1 Community Meeting. My name is Bernie Schultz, and I'm the Ward 1 Counselor. Tonight, we have Ann Cervantes, City Treasurer, and we have Mayor Steve DiNatale. We're probably going to start with Ann tonight, and then the mayor will follow. So they'll give a talk, and then they'll answer any questions you might have. Okay, so Ann, take it away.
Thank you. My name's Ann Cervantes. I'm the city treasurer, as the councilor just said. I'm going to touch tonight on a few of the major duties of the office, and the councilors also asked me to talk a bit about our new vendor for online tax payments. So I'll talk a little bit about that too. The treasurer duties consist of taking charge of the city's cash. So the treasurer is the custodian of all the funds, to secure them, invest them, and to account for them. Also, with appropriate approvals, the treasurer issues debt on behalf of the city. The treasurer also pays all the city's bills. Again, with appropriate approvals, my office prepares the checks and distributes them. My office also takes care of payroll for all the city employees, as well as the benefits for employees and retirees. On the collector side, as you might guess, we collect all the city taxes, personal property, real estate, water and sewer payments, as well as a few other things. There's several ways that people can pay their taxes. They can mail them in. They can stop in and pay at the counter in City Hall. We also have a drop box out front that people can put their payments in. And we also have online payments. Last December, the city changed to a new vendor, City Hall Systems. Primarily, we changed because we wanted to be able to offer paperless billing to taxpayers. We had been having some requests for that. This new vendor allows that without any charge to the taxpayer, so we like that feature. You can also set up automatic payments online. It's very convenient. A lot of people like that, but it's purely voluntary. If you're the type of person who likes to still get your paper bill, you can still do that. The last thing that my office is responsible for is parking in the downtown area. We have 2 employees who patrol the streets, issue violations when necessary, and they also maintain the municipal lots and garages. No question.
No questions?
No questions,
Anybody
I
have any
guess.
questions for?
I didn't heading out to calling hours, so
Okay.
I don't know if I'll get back in time.
All right, Hal. Nice to see you.
Do you use a lockbox?
We do have a lockbox service, so you can either mail payments to the lockbox, that address is on the bills that we send out, or you can just mail them directly to City Hall.
And is there a reason you use a lockbox versus having the payments come to City Hall?
It's cheaper to have the service do it rather than hire additional employees.
Nice. So, Ann, what do you think of your new digs in City Hall?
Oh, I love it. City Hall's just beautiful. I hope everyone's had a chance to come over and take a look at it. It's very nice.
All right. Any other questions for Ann? She's ready to answer any and all questions. Okay. I guess it's time for
Thank you, Bernie.
DiNatale.
Yeah, thanks. I thought it would be best, I go through some of the projects, you see a lot of work being done on Main Street and Boulder Drive, but there's other things going on in the Main Street area. A $4 million project on Main and Boulder will create two-way traffic. I think everyone's kind of aware of that. And complete streets improvements, curb ramps, crosswalks, targeted sidewalk improvements, and some aesthetic improvements. The contractor, PJ Albert, has been selected for the job, and he's begun work and will continue this summer. 2021 scope, it will be focusing on mobilization, sidewalks, and curbing. 2022 scope of work this spring, they'll install the new signals at Boulder, Putnam, and Maine. They're doing that now, and revamping intersections in the east and western intersections. where Main and Boulder meet, and adding decorative lighting throughout Main and Boulder. We will also be transforming Mill and Cushing Street into a pedestrian-friendly plaza. Work will be completed by June of 2022. I think we should make that probably August, but we're keeping our fingers crossed that it'll be completed this summer. We have some equipment delays, traffic signals bringing us right up to that deadline, but we hope to make it. Moran Square redevelopment, 44 mixed-income units, 8,400 square feet of commercial space, $23.9 million project. That used historic tax credits, low-income tax credits, and other state and private funds, including a loan from Rockland Trust, and that's what helped to make this project happen. Work will be completed this fall. Fitchburg Arts Community, the old B.F. Brown, 66 unit of Artist Live workspace, has received all local approvals and historic tax credits, is awaiting word from the state, which we've gotten on the final funding, which we've received. Likely we'll know more soon, but we're looking at shovel to earth probably next year, next spring. And we're pretty excited about that. We're feeling optimistic that this is going to be a real positive asset for the community. Game On Fitchburg, that's the soccer complex. It's actually a sports complex now. They have basketball and all kinds of sports activities inside the building. Fully operational indoors and out, 7 fields, 100,000 square foot indoor facility, and it has received full occupancy permitting and is wrapping up in a few punch list items. Amazon, 97,000 square foot facility on ground floor and mezzanine. 200 to 300 jobs is what that's going to provide. It aims to open in August of '22. We'll work with our DPW. We've negotiated with them, my office, and the owner of the property, along with Amazon, to repave Intervale Road with infrastructure and sidewalk improvements. Traffic concerns are still going to be, we're going to be looking at that very carefully. Traffic on site for the first year, working with DPW to implement any improvements as needed in August of '23. The Twin City Rail Trail, Phase 1 will wrap up by June. We'll take folks from Carter Park to 4th Street in Fitchburg. Opening bumped back a bit due to some change orders to improve fencing and parking along the trail, among other things. Phase 2 will take the trail into Fitchburg's downtown. We hope this will commence in late '23, but we're working through the designs with MassDOT and Leominster. The ARPA, American Rescue Plan Act. We received $31.2 million in local aid. The ARPA Advisory Committee, which we assembled, included Chair of the Chamber, Board Rachel Lopez, met to review 38 applications, over $45 million in requests. First budget of $15 million was unveiled, I don't know, a month and a half ago, I think. Will include funds to complete the Fitchburg Public Library renovation. Matter of fact, let me read what some of them are to give you some idea. The Health Department for Homeless Outreach, $137,000. Community Development, Park Hill Park and Mama Fitz Park, $658,000. Fitchburg Housing Authority, Green Acres, that's public housing, $275,000. Fitchburg Housing Authority as well at Wallace Towers, $125,000. Mock Center for Change, $413,000. Fitchburg Public Library for the library renovation, $6.5 million. Community Development Storefront Activation, $250,000. New View Communities, Fitchburg Arts Community, $450,000. Community Development Rental Repair Program, $250,000. Community Development Business Loan Fund, $62,000. Police Athletic League Youth Boxing Center, $90,000. Fitchburg State University and the Theater Block Project, $475,000. North Central Mass Development Corporation, Business Loan Fund, $250,000, and the remainder, to the tune of just north of $5 million, were all Department of Public Works projects. John Fitch Highway Resiliency, Water Department and Boulder Drive water main replacements, Department of Public Works, North Pearl Street, John Fitch intersection. Again, $5,063,000. I just talked about the highway, John Fitch Highway redesign. DPW has completed 25% design of the John Fitch Highway corridor, funded through the state's MVP program. And I mentioned the ARPA funds to cover the 100% of design work, with the goal to get this on the tip, the Transportation Improvement Plan, it's a state program, in 2027. Project will create green infrastructure, bike pedestrian safety enhancements, and improve traffic operations on John Fitch. Cost estimates will be firmed up at 25%, are completed, but will be around 8 to 10 million. And the Ivor Mills building on River Street has gone before the planning board last month. It's probably a little under 2 years out from groundbreaking. I don't know if you folks know where that is, the old Ivor Johnson Mills on River Street, 3 buildings that sit this way from Main Street. You've been by it 1,000 times. That's going to be housing and live workspace, along with retail and commercial space in there as well. So that's some of the things that are going on, folks. I'm sure you probably have questions. I'm available to answer them.
Got a question over there, Cecile?
Cecile, how are you? Good to see you.
You have said 16.5 and then, or 15 million, which is it for Fitchburg Public Library?
6.5 million.
Oh, it is?
The total, Cecile, was 15 million.
Oh,
Yeah, it's 31 million and change, and we split them into what they call a tranche. There were 2 tranches. We just completed one. We'll be going into the next one probably October or November of this year.
okay, so part of that 15 million, 6.5.
There's another 15 million that's left
Okay,
Right,
so that
right.
6.5 is going to go
to the library.
the library.
Right,
That's
right.
good news, thank you.
Yep, yep.
I have a question. There's properties being renovated on the corner of Hazel and Pratt Road.
Okay.
And then on Frankfurt Street. Are those low-rental housing units or?
You know, you got me on that, Cecile, I don't know. You said Hazel and Pratt?
Corner of
Hazel and
Road.
Pratt,
It almost
okay.
looked like a property that, well, actually, there was nobody
Yeah.
there. Because when I was doing the census, I was sent there, and that building's been vacant for a long time.
Yeah,
It looks
yeah.
like it's ready to collapse, is what I.
Well, that's a neighborhood with a number of years on it, yeah. But, I'll find out. I'll give you a call.
I think there's some development going on Frankfurt Street. It's the old Barclay and Dexter
Oh, is that right?
building. Yeah, it's
okay.
before the planning board. I think
It
it's
is?
before the planning
Yeah,
board, yeah.
yeah, well,
Yeah, there's been quite a bit of work there. So,
yeah.
so the next 15 million, has that gone out for request for?
No, we
proposals
haven't,
yet?
we haven't met. We convene as a committee to review, well, actually, what we do is send out RFPs to different organizations. Whoever wants to file it comes back to us, and the committee reviews them. So you will be one of those requests, I would imagine, correct?
I will look forward to it.
Okay,
I can think
okay.
of-
I anticipated that, Cecile. Okay, okay.
Early childhood.
Yeah.
I forgot,
We had 45, we spent 15 million, we had 45 million in requests. That just goes to show you how it's very, very competitive. Yeah,
I forgot to mention, Mayor Natalia, you're also a resident of Ward 1.
I am, that's right.
And I wanted to ask
Have been for the last
I wanted to
40
ask
years.
about, if you'd like to talk about Water Street and being as part of the urban renewal plan and all
Yeah.
the plans that are
Yeah.
scheduled for Water Street, all the improvements to
Yeah.
the gateway to our city.
Right. I think we all will agree that it needs a lot of work. Water Street is in much need of some attention. And the best way to do that, Bernie, you're absolutely right, is through the redevelopment authority. They've submitted and reconfigured what is part of the urban renewal district. And there are certain powers that housing authorities have that we're going to exercise at some point, and I want to make that the next area that we really focus on in terms of cleaning it up and making it more of a retail, commercial space for people coming into the city. And you're right, Route 12, it's a gateway street.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the people ask about the old Giordano's
Yeah,
Furniture Building,
yeah.
all those buildings.
Yeah.
And also the rail trail going in, you
Yeah.
know, in that area, so, yeah.
Yeah. We're hoping for good things with the rail trail. The organization that's going to be partnering with Leominster, Larry Casassa on our end, we believe it will be a catalyst to more commercial and retail ventures along that trail. So, but for people listening and watching at home, and the folks here, it's not open yet. Technically, it's not open. It's still under the property ownership of Lynch, the construction company. So until they're done, well, people are complaining because it's still, there are areas that need to be cleaned up, and we understand that, but we,
I know, I've considered walking on that. I would
Yeah.
like to, that would be great, because
Yeah.
it's a nice.
oh, yeah, nice and flat, and it's, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a question also of safety.
Yeah.
I don't know if I feel safe.
Well, that's what we're hoping, Cecilia. We're hoping that the more people use it, the less people that aren't quite so inclined will stay away. But the company that's doing the construction work wants people not to be on that because there's liability. They don't want anybody getting hurt because they'd be responsible for that person. So, well, telling people, please, give us a little more time. We're getting it put together, and we'll be opening it up soon, hopefully. Yes?
I know in some communities like Springfield and Greenfield, the Board of Health advises the mayor or the select board, and they then make the decision on issuing or rescinding mandates. Since you're elected by and you're accountable to the voters, but the board is appointed and they're not, would you support a change in their role so they are advisory only?
I would have to have that reviewed by not just myself, but certainly the city solicitor and some of my trusted confidants. Not a bad idea, but I would not commit to that right now. Thank you.
Any other questions for Mayor Di Natale? He's here to answer any and all questions.
Yeah, if you don't think of it now, think of it later, I'll be here. Well, not all night, but
Maybe I just missed this, but when is the theater block project going to be underway?
Well, it just so happens we have someone who is very up to speed and all that. What are we looking at, AJ? A year, maybe, well, still, I think we're still cobbling the money together. That's the funding to make it happen. That project is what, AJ? How much is the total for that project? Theater block?
Currently, Mr. Mayor, as you're aware, projects of that size and stature go through several stages of design, development, value engineering, and it's an untraditional means of funding a project with a public entity. Traditionally, there's one loan order of some size, and that funding goes straight to it. This project is similar to what New View Communities is doing, where you have several funding sources that contribute to the project. So,
What's the total of that? Was it like 45 or something?
for the black box alone, so we're working on phase 2 right now with the theater block project, which is black box, and that's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of anywhere between $20 and $23 million. We're going through those stages, and then the main theater itself is in the neck of the woods of $50 million. So. Phase 2 will be the black box, which would be to the left of the main theater, which will allow for ADA compliance and putting the elevator pit, and will be about a 200 to 300 seat theater for the community and for Fitchburg State to use.
I wish everyone could go in and see that building now, because when it's completed, it's going to be stunning. And the building itself, the theater section is going to be other than the fact that there's a river running through it, I mean, water from the roof and everything, it's going to be basically what it looked like, what was it, 1930 or something? 30s? So they're going to try to restore it and keep as true to the original configuration as it was back then. Now, AJ just mentioned the seating capacity. What is it now? I mean, the old theater was like 1,600, 1,700? We're going back down to what, 13 or 12? Because of ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, you have to make, so you're going to be eliminating seats. That's how we get down to that number. But it's going to be a magnificent venue, really will be. And we hope it's going to be not just an educational component to the university, but a magnet for the city to come and have people from outside the city and the city itself go in there to see some of the theatrical events that will be available, because that building is just going to be, it's going to be magnificent. So,
We're looking for shovel, again, you answered your question, the timeline would be hopefully winter of '23 for shoveling the ground for the black box. But the mayor and the community development department's working with the university on a parking deck or structure as well that would be adjacent to the black box.
you see the empty lot, like after the building ends? That'll be the parking deck. So,
Do they pay taxes or something in lieu of taxes where they're a public institution?
No, if it's under university ownership, they do
Right.
not pay taxes.
yeah, they know.
That's too bad.
When will the main theater, do you think, get started, AJ?
After completion of the black box theater, the president Lapidus is looking at construction right after that. But of course, the design, pending the construction and the way it is designed and the construction process will affect the timeline of the main theater itself as well. So
Yeah.
usually, typically, construction takes about 2 years to do for the black box, and then shortly thereafter, they'll follow up.
So it probably won't start till 2025 at
Around
least.
that, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes. However, I will say, to the work that the university has been doing and the work that the city has been doing in downtown, quickly back to your tax question or statement, is the amount of private development that has spurred in the last 4 or 5 years because of the anchor institution of the university buying on Main Street has developed a lot of private investment going on that will add to the tax base and will also add to the residents in the downtown neighborhood. The university and the city working together, because of the theater block project, we're seeing the $4 million transformation of the two-way Boulder Drive. We're going to be seeing the parking deck. There's a lot of things that are going to be coming down the pipeline that, if it wasn't for the university and the city's partnership with the theater block project, a lot of those things wouldn't be possible. So, although the taxes, I understand the importance of the taxes, I think there's a lot of ancillary benefits to the city and the community will see as a whole, particularly the reimagined North Indian neighborhood.
I know that, for instance, with MCI Shirley, I believe they pay Shirley and Lancaster some money in lieu of taxes. Have you asked the university if they can pay something in lieu of taxes? Because I've been here 25 years this month, and the university has taken over more and more land.
Sure.
And if they're not paying taxes on any of it, that's going to hurt our tax base.
Sure. Understood.
Have you asked them if they pay something in lieu of taxes?
Have I asked the university? I have. I think the partnership that we're working on would be of a greater value that's happening downtown than.
The MCI factor you were talking about, there was a reason for that, because it's a prison, and it was an enticement for communities to take them in. That's not the same case with the university. University is an educational institution, provides much-needed education to people who quite can't afford the Harvards and the Yales, and we think what's important, it's like what you asked about the theater block. It's a Fitchburg State property, but what we're seeing is people coming in to the city of Fitchburg and spending their disposable dollars here in the city. So one way or the, maybe we kind of backdoor getting some of that. We may not get the taxes, but there's a definite benefit to the economic benefits to having that kind of a facility, along with a facility like Fitchburg State University. So, yeah, it would be nice if if we had a tax dollar from them, but it is what it is, and we're not alone. How many schools in the university system? 5? 4? Fitchburg State, Salem State, Framingham, missing a couple.
There's 9 sisters.
Okay, well, UMass as well, right.
Question, AJ, on the black box, will they be able to open that without the rest of the facility? Yeah, that's a question that somebody's going to ask, I'm sure.
And then we're working on the storefronts currently as we speak, with the help of the city and ARPA funding. The president and Jay Breyer are working on releasing bid documents for the storefront renovations, and so that we can get those occupied as soon as
Well, that's the benefit. Once you open a theater like that, there's going to be restaurants that are going to want to open because people are going to want to eat before or after the show, so, yeah. Yeah, it's usually what happens in most communities, so, yeah.
I guess you might think of me as being suicidal by the next thing I'm going to say. No one's brought up the roads, so I guess I will. So, let me read a prepared statement for you. And honestly, please try not to glaze over right away. It begins to get boring, but honestly, what I'm going to read to you, what I'm going to state is true. We may not like it. We all understand how terrible the roads are, but there are reasons why, and there are reasons why it's difficult to have them all paved magically. Fitchburg has over 180 miles of public roadway and over 40 miles of private roadway, of which we can't legally pave or service. Every road has a varying degree of cost to repave. Depends on the width and, of course, the length of the street itself. The frequent estimate is it costs about $1 million to pave 1 mile. The city receives state Chapter 90 funds on an annual basis totaling around $1.2 million. It's actually more like 1.1. This allotment has been the same for every year except one, going back to at least 2010. Chapter 90 is a sole or primary source of road paving funds for every municipality in the Commonwealth. The program is significantly underfunded. The Massachusetts Municipal Association estimates that the state is underfunding municipalities by 4 times the need. When funds stay flat and costs go up, the annual allotment Fitchburg gets paves less and less. This is the principal reason our city roads are in the condition they are. There's also another factor. I've talked with our DPW commissioner. I think some of you folks have had meetings in the past, Bernie, where you had Nick Erickson, the commissioner.
Yeah, to explain that. Yeah.
Something that people don't know, and again, please don't glaze over. I mean, it sounds boring, but it's true. The materials that go into making asphalt are not what they were 10 years ago. They don't have the shelf life that they did 10 years ago. So if you're paving a road, it's supposed to give you 20 years of life, shelf life. In some years, you're probably lucky if you get 10. Now, this is where the glazing over comes, so feel free to glaze. Topography. People don't want to hear it, but the city of Fitchburg if you look around, we're in a valley. We're in hills all over the place. And you know as well as I do, there's more granite in the city of Fitchburg than anywhere in the North County. So water starts here and ends up over there. I know of one road, Franklin Road, just after Depot Street. That's been paved at least 3 times over the last 5 or 6 years. Rock comes off of Rollstone Hill, the water comes off the rock, comes down into the road. You get maybe 2 or 3 years out of it. It needs to be paved again. I know people don't want to hear that. It's like, oh my God, he's making excuses. It's a fact. I'm sorry. The city does pave roads every year, just not as much as we'd like. The DPW Engineering Division determines which roads get paved using a grading system of pavement conditions. Believe it or not, folks, politics is not part of the decision. It also factors in water, wastewater, Unitil, projects to ensure that a road isn't paved and immediately dug back up. Also, when we talk about paving a road, it's like last year we did Summer Street, where Moran Square is. We went up towards St. Bernard's High School. That's all newly paved. It's not just the pavement. There's granite curbing, and there are sidewalks. So that's what a road project, you can't just do one and not the other. Because you heard me talk about ADA. You're contrary to ADA restrictions. You have to have sidewalks that are accessible, and you have to have sidewalks. So a concrete sidewalk is not cheap. So, we also focus on micro-surfacing, which extends the life of a newly paved road, but this is costly and eats away at our Chapter 90 funds. So the more micro-surfacing we do, the less roads get paved. So what gets priority? Preservation or rehabilitation? It's a difficult balancing act. Last year, we paved Summer Street, Oak Hill Road, Williams Road, McIntyre Road, and Alpine Road. We back then utilized 90,000. Let me just say something too. This administration, maybe this is a pat on my back. This administration has spent more money of available funds. It's your money, but we've used more above and beyond. We're now, with this allocation this year, are going to be spending out of free cash, that doesn't count Chapter 90, what I told you about before, over $2.5 million. All right, and that's not counting buying new trucks, buying skid steerers, buying pickups, buying plows, and everything else that goes along with running a city. So I tell you these things because I hope the viewing public, but also the people that are here tonight, understand that we're doing all we can. But we can only, short of me having a printing press out back printing dollars, we're doing the best we can. And we're going to continue to do the best we can, but we're asking that people please understand it's not a simple solution, it's a complex problem. Let me see. The road conditions are not lost on any of us who are in elective office. We drive these roads as well. We see how they look. We know the fix, but have little to no power to obtain that fix. Are some cities and towns' roads better? Obviously, but to equate one city or town to Fitchburg as apples to apples is far too simplistic. Lunenburg's main roads are state-owned. Its residents also passed in 2012 a ballot debt exclusion to raise property taxes over that period to pave more roads. Does Fitchburg want to do this? I highly doubt it. I certainly don't advocate we do. Not when the state is derelict in its duty. Leominster roads aren't much better, and don't take it from me. Just talk to a Leominster resident. But let's stipulate they are. Leominster had no pension debt, the only city in the Commonwealth. Therefore, it doesn't have to divert millions every year to fund it like we do. These are not excuses, they're facts. This is the reality we face. People, please understand this. They don't have to like it. I don't like it either. But it's paramount to understanding why this problem persists. Far too many think this is a simple fix that the city simply ignores. One can put all of the illustrative graphs or charts they want, but none of that gets to the root issue. Where are the millions and millions coming from in perpetuity to adequately address this problem? If I could pave all the roads in the city of Fitchburg, I would need probably close to $100 million. It's extraordinary. Yes?
How much are we going to get, do you think, from the infrastructure bill that Congress passed?
They're still kicking around. They haven't passed it yet, have they?
I thought they did.
I don't know. You're not talking about ARPA, you're talking infrastructure.
Yeah, they passed the infrastructure, it was passed.
I don't
But
know
it's
what we're
not going to be like ARPA, Steve. It's going to be like you got to apply for a grant type of deal.
Right.
So it's not going to be.
I have no idea what that's going to look like.
It's going to be competitive. They're not just giving us the money, Jacqueline.
I don't know what that's going to look like, Jacqueline. I don't know how much money. I have to say this for the state. The legislature has stepped up to the plate this year. I know Representative Kuchmarek and Senator Cronin both talked to me about the state is offering, and it's in the form of grant funding as well, more for infrastructure. And oh, by the way, when we talk about Chapter 90, we always say it's the roads. It is the roads. It's also bridges, it's also dams, all of which we have a lot of. How many bridges do you think we got in Fitchburg? This is the city on the river, remember that. How many do you think we got? 48. Yeah. I mean, think about it. You go over a bridge, you don't even know you're going over a bridge. Some are 6 feet long, some are 35 and 50 feet long. I mean, look at the Water Street Bridge. I mean, and those are all in some form of disrepair. But if you're going to use $1.1 million to pave roads, doesn't leave anything, there's nothing left over to fix the bridges or dams. We've got many dams in the city as well. And that's a whole, you know, people say, well, take the dam down, you know. Well, you can't just do that. AJ knows this better than anybody. You have to hire a consultant to go in and do a design. What does it cost? First, they go in and they tell you, well, this is what happens if you take it down, and this is what happens if you leave it up. And by leaving it up, you have to repair it, which is not cheap either. I mean, one of the challenges we have is the Coggeshall Dam. Coggeshall Dam's okay, it's holding its own, but it needs work. And when you start talking about fixing a dam like that, you're talking millions of dollars. So we keep working with the state. They've been pretty good. You know, the McTaggart's Pond Dam paid for, was state paid for. It was a bill actually that I filed when I was in the legislature. We activated it a year or so ago. So they used that to do the engineering design for what we're going to ultimately do is take the dam down. And what happens is that area becomes what it was 400 years ago. It was a brook. They put the dam up, now it became a pond. People say, oh my God, what are you doing? Well, it's really going back to what it was originally. So, but it's always about dollars and cents. I know I hate saying that, but it's the truth. Thank you.
Any other questions for the mayor?
Yes, Jacqueline.
So, at the end of this year, the term expires for one of the members of the Board of Health, and I'm wondering if you're willing to commit to diversifying the board. Right now, you've got 3 white people, and it's really bothersome to me that they were putting mandates on public school students, 3/4 of whom are persons of color. I think you need a more diverse Board of Health.
Well taken. We certainly will look at that when the time comes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor DiNatale, for talking about the roads, because we do get questions about the roads pretty often, so.
Well, I took the opportunity, I'm sure there are people viewing at home, try to understand that we've done we've gone above and beyond. You don't think so, but we have. We've done our best to try to improve the roads to the extent that we can, and we'll continue to do that. DPW is, these guys are pros. They know what they're doing. I had someone try to tell me how I was supposed to, he's telling me how I would pave a road. How come we don't use the XYZ program or something? And I have no idea what he's talking about. And I said, well, you talk to my DPW commissioner, or talk to Gary Withington, who knows more about that stuff than him, right?
Superintendent of streets.
Yes, yeah, he's been doing it for what, 40 years? I mean, I think he knows what he's doing, right? So that's what I say, just let them do their job. They're pros, they know what they're doing, and they get it right. But they can only do what I ask them to do.
Water Street Bridge, when is that going to commence? Have you heard any more
Yeah,
about
that's
that?
going to be starting up soon. That's going to be a gem too. That, you know, the bridge we're talking, going after Market Basket, going up and onto Main Street. Yeah, that's going to be 23, I believe, Bernie. Next year is when they'll start construction on that. Yeah. And it's going to be It's going to be a pretty nice-looking structure, too. There's going to be metal fencing or grating along the top of it. It's going to be very artistic, and I stipulated with MassDOT that the ironwork be painted red and gray, so they will do that.
Did they finish all the work underneath? The sewer separation is all finished in that?
No. It's not finished, no. There's still, I think we got another couple of years on that, yeah.
But I've been here more than 20 years, but it seems that spot has always been a big problem. They tear that road up.
Where's that, Eddie?
Water Street Bridge.
Oh, they're right there, yeah.
At least
Yeah.
once or twice a year.
Yeah, now which one are you talking about? The one,
Right by Microbasket.
Yeah,
You know,
further
when you
down.
Start up the hill.
yeah, right, yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
still. you
They
know,
tore it up last summer, actually. Was that last summer or the summer before?
And
Well,
you still drive through there, you gotta
Yeah.
slow down
Yeah.
because it's a big.
Yeah.
I mean.
But you know what it is too, it's the only way you can construct it. It was explained to me, the piping runs under the bridge, so it's constant vibration, weight. So it's not unusual that the pipe would break at some point. And, and it's a disaster when it does, because you have to shut everything off. Street has to be shut off, you can't use it, because it's difficult. They have to get under the bridge to make the repairs. It's complicated.
One of the streets is shut down now. One of those streets is down right now. I think it's.
Probably Walnut.
Walnut.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Well, you know why they're shutting, some of those streets are shut off too, because they stage the equipment. Some of the equipment's so big, they can't let cars go back and forth, so they close the road. You go around.
So is Water Street Bridge gonna be 2 lanes still
Yes,
on both sides?
yeah, yeah.
So the traffic's still gonna be congested?
Well, hopefully not, because there's going to be some relief when you get over the bridge. There's going to be a configuration where you can return back to Boulder or go on to Maine. So the traffic's going to flow a lot more smoothly. That's the plan anyway. Yeah, that's the plan. We, again, the pros I was talking about at MassDOT, the engineers, their traffic guys, they've studied this considerably, and we have to believe that what their plan is going to work. So if it doesn't, we'll adjust.
All right, so your street guys, do they have a list of streets that are the worst
What?
to repair?
Yeah.
Do they have a list
Oh,
going?
we know what those roads are. Well, people say to me, that's a really bad road. I said, yeah, that's one. I got 10 more like it. You know what I mean? But, yeah. And that's what it is. The factor is also how heavily traveled is it? I mean, there are some streets where, and it's unfortunate, the road's in bad shape, but the only people that use it are the people that live on the street. Places like Water Street and Summer Street and Lunenburg, Laurel, yeah. Those are heavily used.
Not so much going out. I know
Yeah.
this winter I was using it and I was coming back towards the city and the potholes were so bad that people were crossing the yellow line,
Yeah.
which is not safe.
Yeah, I hate hearing that, but, yeah.
That's why I was asking you.
I got it, I hear you.
Then
I
the
hear
John
you.
Fitch, that's my
Yeah,
other question.
yeah.
You said they're redesigning it, is that
Yeah.
gonna eliminate the flooding down there?
That's what it's supposed to do. That's one of the things it's supposed to do. More pedestrian friendly, and, with people walking and how we address the vehicle traffic and all that. I mean,
That's why we're high visibility on TV when it floods.
oh, yeah. The parking lot there, I know. I mean, that's an example of when you want to mess with Mother Nature, and they change the direction of the river, but when it rains heavily, it wants to go back to what it used to be, and that's why that parking lot becomes a lake. Yeah.
I was just gonna ask, would it help for like ordinary citizens to write the legislator to get more money in the Fitchburg?
Sure.
I mean,
Can't hurt.
so if you give us like who, where it should go to.
Well,
I mean,
Mike Kuchmarek is your state rep, and John Cronin is the state senator. Yeah.
I mean, maybe it would help. I mean,
Well, yeah,
if enough-
exactly.
if enough citizens
Yeah.
say, look, we need,
Yeah.
we're having really, because I know that like,
Sure.
communities like, say, Harvard or Lexington, they seem to, you know, they're more wealthy communities, but they seem
Yeah.
to have much better roads. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the pull that they have.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's probably a combination of the factors I talked about that they don't have, you know? No, I don't believe that. I believe that some of those communities you're talking about, Eddie, roads are in tough shape too. I've had people tell me that. I got a brother who lives in California. He's been there 50 years. There's no snow, there's no ice, no freezing temperatures. He said, we've got roads we avoid. Oh, yeah, it's in the Central Valley in California. It's like, what, they're that bad? He says, oh my God, you wouldn't believe some of the roads where I am.
So I grew up in North Carolina, and I guess they have the best roads in the country.
They-
They do.
No problem.
But they also have the highest gas tax, which is, I guess, and you know who builds
Would
the
be
roads?
that. Well, that's what it is. You've got to have the money come from somewhere. I mean, they've got to, right. Oh, they do the chain gang?
Well, it's not a chain gang, they're like the low security one. They choose to work, but that's who builds all the roads.
Yeah.
I don't know, they do have good roads down there for some reason.
Well.
But they don't have snow, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's,
Salt.
yeah, you know, the rain, the freezing, the thawing, the snow, the ice, I mean, it's wreaks havoc on these streets, it really does. And this past winter was particularly, we didn't get a lot of snow, we got a lot of ice, a lot of rain and a lot of water, and it just exacerbated the problem, you know? Yeah.
But you were encouraging people to write legislature.
Yeah.
You said Representative Kuchmarek, so if they send him a letter, can they send it here to his address and/or to Boston?
Yeah, you could send it to both if you want.
I'm just saying that, just so that people that are watching
Yeah.
know that they can
Yeah.
come to City Hall. Or
You know what you could do?
send it to
If
Boston.
you're concerned about where to mail it, call my office, we'll get you the address or addresses, send them to both places. I mean, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
If it helps.
and you can do that for anything you want. I mean, they're available to, yeah, they want to hear from you.
Okay. Well, thanks to Mayor Di Natale for coming out and answering questions and giving us all the information that he has on the projects, and also to Treasurer Cervantes for giving a presentation and being willing to answer any questions. This Ward 1 community meeting, I'm going to be taking a 3-month break, so everybody can go on vacation for June, July, and August, and I'll be back in September 12th. It will be the next Ward 1 community meeting, and the presenters are to be announced.
To be determined.
Be
Okay.
determined. Thanks, everyone, for coming out.
There is one complaint I always get, and I'm sure you've gotten it before, is that under the bridge, the Fifth Street Bridge,
Yeah.
are they gonna, and like, I know that, the city says, no, it's the contractors now, you know, they haven't turned it over yet. But I mean, that, people are using the rail trail, there's a lot of
Yeah.
people, and that's what they see, you know?
Yeah.
And that's my neighborhood, I live in the patch.
Yeah, we know about that. We've cleaned it up once before, about a year ago. And we'll do that again, but right now, we're in search of a contractor to do the cleanup, and we'll be getting to that probably in the next week or so.
Yeah, a couple of my neighbors, well, John.
Yeah.
You know, John.
Yeah, it's
But-
terrible,
but
you're right.
They also
Yep.
moved, you know, I guess there used to be a chemical plant down there. There's a lot of people living down there. Do you know where?
Yeah, I know where it is. Yeah, yeah, I know. That's private property, so that's a whole other issue.
Yeah, you can't see it in the summer.
It's definitely been in See-Click Fix, Eddie, quite a few times.
Yeah, we know about it.
Everybody knows about it.
I told someone from the Lynch that, you know, they were putting in the benches and stuff, I was walking it down. They said, oh, they've learned how to tap into the power, they're getting power from that. So they have power and everything down there. I'm like, well,
Where are they getting the power? What do you mean, electricity?
somehow they tapped into the bulb. Yeah.
Is that right? Really? And where is this?
Down in the falls,
I know where you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
but I don't know. That's-
Yeah, we have outreach, we have our outreach team that they know where the folks are, what their needs are. It's just a matter of
I
convincing them to take advantage of it. you
Yeah,
know?
I just think it gives people a
Yeah.
bad image of
Well, yeah, it does, you're right.
Fitchburg and our.
It's not good.
neighborhood.
I
The
agree.
rail trail can look really
Yeah.
nice, but with
And it will. Yeah, you're right.
Well, thanks to everybody for coming out, and we'll see you in September.
See you in September, I like that.